Hello guys, it's Clean Coder, and today we're going to be looking at the newest version of Ubuntu 20.04 and my experience with it since I'm a Windows user, so going over to this is pretty different actually. So the first thing I want to point out to people coming from Windows over to Ubuntu, the settings are a little bit different. For the most part, it's on the left side. Most of your settings are just basic. If you are running this natively on the computer, you probably will have Bluetooth, but as you can see here, I'm using VMware to host Ubuntu on. Another thing that's a bit different, that's a little bit different, is the App Store. On Windows, they do have an App Store, but for the most part, you're usually gonna be looking at this area here. So, like something like Inkscape, you could do videos on, or you can also use the search. So, like, and you can get Visual Studio or any other app that you want on your computer. I showed in the last video how to install Visual Studio on Windows. Later on there may be a video on how to do it in Ubuntu. Next thing is the tweaks. Tweaks are pretty much allowing you to change pretty much fonts to keyboard shortcuts to what starts up when you start Ubuntu, and for the most part it just allows you to change every single aspect of Windows. Next thing is the app drawer or the applications. So these are the frequent ones or the ones that you use the most. If you click all here, you can see all of the applications that you used. It's pretty useful to be able to not only access all of these, but to be able to access these as well. So System Monitor is pretty similar to the Task Manager in Windows, allowing you to see what's the CPU doing and how much your memory and storage is handling, while something like the Terminal allows you to not only update, but also add in things that wouldn't be found in the App Store. Since this is my first time using Ubuntu, it's different, but it's also very similar to how Windows runs. For example, they have, instead of Microsoft Office on Windows, they have LibreOffice, it works. I would recommend just going over to Google and using their software, but this works, especially if you have a not as powerful computer. It works. It's not bad, it's not good. It does what it needs to do, really. Also, another thing, when I just got on Ubuntu, I made sure to download Chromium. It's not Chrome, it's Chromium, because we're using Linux, we're not on Windows. This is pretty similar though to Chrome. It's just that this one runs better on Ubuntu, being that it's made for Linux. When you get started, you'll see that you have a home folder. which allows you to access everything you saved, like downloads or documents. So when you're starting up Ubuntu, remember that when you are starting it up, don't press the escape button because that pauses its startup. So it'll stop starting up and it'll wait until you press the escape button again. I made this mistake when I was trying to leave VMware. I clicked escape and it paused Ubuntu when I didn't want it to do that. I still wanted Ubuntu to run. So just remember that you can also access Firefox for those who use it. Firefox is the main browser they have on here. As I said before, Chromium or any other browser you would have to install via the App Store or the Ubuntu software store. It's pretty similar, but you can change background. So maybe if I wanted this, I could change it. And now I have this instead, which is pretty nice actually. But and also by pressing AltTab, you can see your apps as well as Windows. So if you're a Windows user, you shouldn't have much difficulty understanding how Ubuntu works. So let me show you. So if you do AltTab, you can switch through Ubuntu. You can switch through the apps that you have open. And you can also, one thing different than Windows is that you can't close anything in here. You have to literally go into the app and close it, which isn't a bad thing, but it makes, I don't know, makes some things difficult in some cases. Unlike Windows where you have Mail or Outlook, you have Thunderbird Mail, which is common on most Linux softwares. Also, you have an app drawer, or in my case, I call it an app drawer. It's just to show applications, and that's it's pretty much a very good experience for me. Starting today, since today's the first time I've ever been on Linux. Um, this is the music app. Like in Windows, they have music, but you can go here and you can play music that you have. Also, like Windows, it has a calendar, a camera app, and so forth. Utilities you can, and oh, also you can drag in and out stuff. So for example, what happens if I don't want this folder, right? I can just simply drag it out. But actually for right now, I'll keep it in. And to make a new folder, you just drag it over and you can make a folder. And then to drag it out, you just do that. But you have to drag out both apps in order to have it out of an app. That was a weird bug there, but yeah. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you get familiar with Ubuntu.